Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Tone's Market Analysis for Sunday, April 23rd. Hope everyone had a good week. Hope everyone had a good trading week. If you held the Litecoin, you certainly had a good trading week, and we will get to that as well. If you held Bitcoin on Poloniex, you probably had Poloniex or Bitfinex, you probably had a good week because then you're pulling this Bitcoin out at a nice, at a nice price. Though that doesn't really matter because it's Bitcoin, and I will talk about that as well towards the end. All right, we have a bunch of live viewers. We're already at 50 live viewers as the show starts, so that's great. Let's see if we can break 200 again. I keep trying to update my blog, so I'm getting there. We're up to April 7th now. The ASIC Boost episode, the Bitcoin podcast, very original, though makes it a little hard to Google. That was a good podcast. Of course, my interview with FutureNet, the MLM Ponzi scheme, and past episodes of On the Record as well. So slowly the blog is being up to date, and I really got to keep up with the up-to-date blog. Earlier today, I had another On the Record episode for PIVX. So check that out. You can take a guess on what I think about PIVX, but I find the relationship between PIVX and Dash absolutely hilarious. So I was happy to do this interview. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't that much fun. It wasn't as fun as the FutureNet interview, only because I really wanted some more. I really wanted better answers to some of the questions to make to get full irony out of that interview. So some of the answers were good answers. They were the opposite of the answers I was expecting. So I didn't have to hold in my laughter as much. But check that out, and let me know what you think about the format and if I should continue with this format. What separates On the Record from Crypto Scam is that for the On the Record podcast, I'm actually interviewing someone involved with the project. That would never happen on an episode of Crypto Scam, which is coming back, by the way. I'm going to try and shoot the next episode of Crypto Scam next week, and then we'll get that podcast back up and running. So the difference is that if there is a person from that project, it'll be On the Record. If it's me and a co-host who is as skeptical about the project as me, hopefully a smarter co-host who knows more about the project, then it becomes a Crypto Scam episode. So that's how I'm separating the podcast. They're also on different channels. On the Record is on the World Crypto Network, and Crypto Scam is on this YouTube channel. So go ahead and check that out. Okay, so I'm actually doing this on a Sunday after 6 o'clock. I'm sorry for our European live viewers. I could not get to this earlier because I was just busy. Because people are calling for consulting, so that's great. I would say thank you for your donations, but none came in last week, you cheap bastards. It's okay, I'm just kidding, guys. The show will go on. That's not why I do the show, but yeah. So hey, like I said, for now, at the current price of 0.1 Bitcoins per hour, Tone Vase Consulting Service is still available, and there are still some available hours left, but my day is actually filling up. So I really wonder if the increase in the price of Bitcoin is gonna lower the number of people looking for consulting services, or would it go up in the number of hours I'm spending consulting, so that I may have to raise the price. It will be an interest. I'm treating this as an economic experiment. It's curious. All right. All right, and thank you, Richie Rich, for being part of the live broadcast today, and he'll be helping me out to consolidate your questions. But please don't ask your questions yet. Please start asking your questions as I get to the Bitcoin part of the show. All right, let's just jump into the markets. The intro is already longer than than usual. All right, so I'm refreshing, trying to see what's going on here. There's something weird going on with the euro. Maybe this is on a 15-minute delay. We might have to come back to this. Yeah, so I have no idea what happened, but we'll take a look at the charts. So I'll leave that on for now. I hope I don't have too many tabs open again that are slowing things down, but we'll close them as we go. All right, here's the S&P 500, and the S&P 500 has been really weird, right? Like ever since we fell out of this triangle and made a low, and I put in this yellow line, I really wanted to go short the moment it fell lower than the yellow line, but it didn't. So I keep raising my entry to go short on this trade, but the price keeps going higher, right? And it keeps, so actually this green arrow makes no sense. Let me delete it. We may put this green arrow back on, but right now it makes no sense because it broke down. So this short trade with a nice risk-reward ratio was never entered again. So I'm going to just alter this trade one more time. So last week, the S&P 500 closed at the price of 23.48. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the coordinates here. So we were going to enter below 23.35, but now I'm at 23.48. So I'm actually going to raise this to 45 and see how it looks. So I actually want this a little bit lower because I want to be under Friday's closing low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to either 40, but in reality, it would be closer to 39. Okay. All right. So I want to be below this fat green candle to enter the short trade. And I can tighten the stop loss once again. Instead of 56, this can probably be tightened because if we start going down, probably even make it something like 51. So this is what I would be looking at. So this is just, it's getting tighter and tighter. And once the price goes above the point of the triangle, this whole thing completely gets flipped. And now you're looking for bullish entries the way right now I'm looking for bearish entries. So the price is going up and I'm trying to go short, but never actually entered this short trade. And right now I would enter this short trade below Thursday's low. So that fat green candle, so below the low. So that's the trade I'm kind of looking for. And yeah, if this trade actually enters, there's no way it's gonna be that long of a trade. So let's bring this down for like May. This is the sell in May and go away trade. So we'll see what happens. And if it gets activated, you have a very tight stop. You have a 0.47% stop versus a 4% gain that you're looking for. And this is one of those situations because I'm also teaching you guys how to trade as well. By the way, this is not trading advice. I may or may not even take this trade, but this is what I'm looking for. And this is one of those things where you like tip your toe in and try this trade right here, and then you double down or triple down on this trade below the yellow line. Because if we go back below the yellow line, then things are looking very, very bearish. All right, so let's see what happens during the week. And I don't have a price for today's candle yet, so I don't even know if I'm not actually going to close that yet. I'm going to hold on to it. So I have this green arrow here, but now we're starting to form a descending triangle. So these arrows don't really make sense anymore. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this. And now everything is setting up for some bearish momentum here. So what I can do is I can do one of these. That's a, oh, no, I don't want it. There. Okay. So it's one of these triangles, and I'm not gonna. I don't want this to take too long, so I'm not gonna draw the bullish arrow and the bearish arrow, but or maybe just the bearish arrow. So this is like 1230, 2335, and the height is 2400. So that's about a 65-point move. So what we're gonna do is gonna put a price range here, and so now we're looking at about a 60-point move, right? So about there. Right, I don't want to take too much time. So that's kind of what I'm eyeing. It would be a decent pullback. So let's see how this triangle develops. And of course, it can bust out to the upside, but the statistics say that it will bust out to the downside. And let's see how this week even starts, right? This is not an entered trade yet. It needs to actually get under, like fall out of this triangle. But that's what I'm looking at for the near future. Again, sell in May and go away. Meme. Whoa, what happened there? Did that just happen? Shit. When I opened this chart like 20 minutes ago, I didn't see that coming. What is going on today? What happened over the weekend? What I miss? I mean, I've been in like Bitcoin land. I mean, the euro's doing something weird. Gold's crashing. Where's the S&P 500 going to open? So something's going on. I don't know what it is. Did the French election take place? Well, what I miss? This is what happened. I should be fired from my marketing job. I have live viewers. Someone tell me if the French election took place. Okay, French election. What happened? I'm going to go to my followers to know what the hell happened in the French election. I mean, this is how behind I was. I thought I had plenty of time to catch up on the news, but I clearly didn't. So who are the two finalists? Is it Le Pen and that Macron guy? Okay, Le Pen and Macron. Excellent. That's exactly what I thought it was going to be. So who won? Who beat out who? Did Le Pen get more votes, or did Macron get more votes? All right, so while I wait for the live chat to let me know, Macron 2% more votes. Okay, so it's a margin of error. Okay, that doesn't matter. Okay, so that explains it. The S&P is up. Why are the markets happy? Wow, gold is down 20 bucks. Holy shit. And why the hell is the euro up so much? I mean, Le Pen is going to get the hell out of the euro. Okay, so this is an inverse reaction of what it actually should be. Maybe the markets are reacting to the fact that Macron beat out Le Pen. This is my only, but this is one of those margins of error, right? So what you're looking at right here, right, with the euro being up 2%, gold being down 1.5%, and the stock market being up 1%, this is, to me, is the reaction of Macron beating out Le Pen by 1 to 2%. So the market sees this as Macron is going to win the French election over Le Pen. I think that's stupid. I also think that is incorrect. I do think Le Pen has a very good shot at winning, and at worst, it's 50-50. So I don't think this is going to hold. I think this relationship might actually reverse, maybe even into the market open. But this is going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I guess I'm doing this thing at the right time. So this trade is still, I'm still leaving it this way, right? If the market is up, if the S&P is up 22 points. That puts the S&P, where do we close? We closed at like 48. That puts it at 68. So we're above the triangle, right? If we can hold that day, then I would delete this bearish trade. But let's see what happens, right? Like, because remember, over the weekend or at night when Trump was getting elected, the markets were crashing. But then by the time they opened in the morning, it was, good news and not bad news. So by the time the markets open tomorrow morning, especially in the U.S., this election could be bad news versus good news for the markets. But this is going to be very, very interesting. Okay, so here's gold crashing. So guess what, guys? In the last video, remember I took off the bullish trade, but I was a little too chicken to throw on the bearish trade, even though I was talking about throwing on the bearish trade. And you can make fun of technical analysis all you want, and you can talk about how it's the French election dropping the price of gold, but I've been talking about this trend line acting as resistance for gold for weeks, if not months, okay? All year long, this was the point. And even when this bullish trade was put on, this node has been sitting here for weeks, warning people that this is the weekly trend line resistance. And this is where your bullish trade in gold needs to be either reduced, put on a tight stop, and whatever. Now, I was doing this video, I know hindsight's 2020, but when I did this chart, when I opened this chart up 20 minutes ago, what I was going to say, without even knowing that the French elections were this weekend, what I was going to do was I was going to put horizontal channel right here on gold. I mean, this is all hindsight at this point, right? So, which is always 2020. So this is what I was going to say. Not that it matters. I mean, no one should believe me anyway. What I was going to do is I was going to put a channel like this. And what I was going to say was, whichever way it breaks out of the channel, you immediately take the trade. Now, of course, there was no time to take this trade because gold like opened down here. So this is one of those things where you say, I missed it and I'm not going to chase it. Because guess what? Right here is support. The 1250 area is support. So if it comes to 1250, you can easily reverse back to the upside. But the trade was the weekly trade right here off of this shooting star. And it looks like a perfect rejection for the fourth time at the declining trend line. And if this becomes a heavy sell, then we are going lower and we're probably going below 1,000. And then maybe at around 840, we'll finally reverse, okay? So this is what I was going to say. I don't really want to close it. I want to see what this looks like towards the end of my video. Opened up silver. I was going to talk about silver, and there goes that. I was actually planning on drawing. I'll draw it, but I'll like immediately delete it. I was planning to draw a bullish arrow right here on the golden cross of the daily moving averages, but this was only going to hold if we open to the upside. Like if today was an up day in silver, I would have been totally bullish silver, but we already see that it's crashing to the downside. So unless we see a reversal overnight, this now becomes a sell. And let's see if we make a lower low and test this trend line again. But if we make a lower low, I mean, it's not going to be looking good for silver. That's silver daily. So silver is back to no trade. And this is the thing. Like, it looks like silver bottomed, but if we fall, like, silver is actually easier right now than gold. Here's the play on silver. And I know the range is going to be wide enough to put a truck through. Here's your resistance. Very simple. $20. Here's your support. Very simple. Oh, wow. This is so clean. Amazing. I guess not clean, but cleanish. Here's your support. Around 16 bucks. I'll adjust these later. Very clean, okay? As long as silver is between 16 and 20, I wouldn't touch it. I would not touch silver between 16 and 20, okay? The moment it falls below 16, it's a sell. The moment it goes up above 20, it's a buy, okay? So this is how I am looking at silver. So I'm going to take my green arrow. I'm going to draw it right here. I'm going to take my red arrow. I'm going to draw it right here. See, this one is a little rough, right? Yeah, no, double bottom is not going to hold. Boom. Here's my silver forecast, okay? I don't touch it in this range. And above 20, I'm looking at 25 plus. Below 16, I'm looking at 10 bucks, okay? I know these things are wide, but this is a long-term chart. We're looking at from the all-time high, well, or whatever, decade high to decade low, okay? And if we put a Fibonacci retracement on this, I think it's on the other side. Or maybe there isn't one, but either way. Yeah, I always wanted to see silver below 10 bucks. So let's see if that happens, which would be unfortunate because I actually have silver. Stupid buy. I was naively gold bug before I, came to my senses. All right, silver I am going to close, but I'll keep an eye on gold throughout this podcast. This might be a longer podcast than usual because of the French elections that I clearly wasn't ready for. I wonder how my portfolio is going to do on Monday when it opens. That's the markets would kind of crash. I was slightly positioned better for a fall than a rise. So let's see what happens. But I'm fairly neutral with all my positions, which is why portfolio should be fine tomorrow, whether S&P is up 1% or down 1%. And I don't think S&P has been up or down 1% on a close in months. So if we close above 1%, this might be the best S&P day in months, actually. Yeah, since right there, looks like since March 1st. Or April. Looks like it was a day in April. Anyway, it'll be interesting. Oh man. All right. Yeah, this is the actual S&P, not the future. If this was the future, it would be up there. But I'm looking at the S&P. But in commodities, I'm looking at the futures. Honestly, I think the market is overreacting. I think it'll pull back. I mean, it's going to be a toss-up between in the French election. But if Le Pen wins, the euro is gonna. I'll get to the euro in a minute. We'll get there. Let's keep gold. What do we got? Oil. Did oil open this week? Yeah, it did. So oil isn't budging. The markets are weird right now. It's just weird. Look, oil is only up 22 cents. Less than 0.5%, and like gold is flirting with 2%, and euro is flirting with 2%. This is it's really weird. So drew this green arrow. By the way, this bullish trade has not been entered yet. So everything stays as is. In fact, I would tighten this. I would, what do we got here? Yeah, I would make that even a 9. Like, I would tighten this up. Very tight. You have the 50-day moving average right there. The moment the price goes above $50, I would long oil with a very tight stop, 47.90, but looking for a nice fat reward. So let's see how that goes. All right, here's the euro, and look, I think this is it. I was looking to short the euro if it fell lower, but it bounced all the way to the 50-day, and I would test these waters this week or next week. Let me adjust it here. Let's see what we got. It's a little risky for me to do this at this point in time, but let's see where the euro is at. So the euro right now is at over 109. And I think that gap's going to close. And let's give this a try. So I would consider, and this is actually a risky trade. Like no, you know what? Let me not do this. I'll do it next week. I'm not going to mess with it. I will make it wider. So at 108 is the short entry with a stop loss at probably 09, where we are now, and a gain 75. So something like that, right? So if the price goes, back down and starts to close the gap, then this becomes a short, and that might be the high. That because look at the declining 50-day moving average. Yeah, this video is definitely going longer than I usually make it. So that also means this trade should be out of whack, but it's not that much out of whack. So that means the British pound has also gone up reasonably substantially, and there it is at 0.13%. So I would have thought, oh yeah, this did move up quite a bit. Yeah, so like I said before, this is one of those trades where this is definitely going to be a winning trade. Trader should lose money on this trade. I'm just leaving it as the original entry of the trade. And I don't think this relationship would last. I think this is just, people are panicking, and these trends will continue. I don't think it's going to stay that way. The next election's in May, but I forgot what day, so we'll see. Yeah, so not much to say here. Most likely this trade should come off the board. Money has been made, but I'm going to leave it because I think the euro is a basket case and it's just going to keep falling. All right, wow, that took like very long. Let's see how gold's doing. Yeah, didn't rebound yet. Yeah, well, volatility's back. That's for damn sure. Again, a plug for one broker. This is where I trade this stuff. Just $100 here, $100 there. I do have an affiliate code in my video description for one broker. That's where I do these trades just for fun. I don't really do directional trading in my real accounts. I only do it, in Bitcoin just for fun, just to throw $100 on the line or something. Nothing serious, no serious money. Okay. Yes, because it's a risky platform that's anonymous, and your Bitcoin is at risk, like any other platform, Cryptsy, Poloniex, you name them. Well, this arrow is sure working out. Once the price of gold falls below 1250, bad things are probably going to happen. So it's you don't want that. If you're a gold bull, oh man, it just gets, with every one of these lines, it just gets worse and worse and worse, and will probably accelerate. Like once we go below 1250, it'll get bad. After below 1210, it'll get worse. Below this low, it's gonna get real bad. And if we break 1040, holy shit, there's no way 1000 is gonna hold it. I mean, people will say 1000 is a nice round number, but it's not happening. Here, I like divergence. Like everything was pointing to gold lows. I know the gold bugs are all riled up, but technicals are saying lower. When technicals say higher, I'll be a gold bull. For now, lower. All right, Bitcoin, this is your time to throw in questions. Start with the capital word question so that it's easy for me and Rich to identify your questions. Thank you again, Richie Rich, for helping me out and compiling the questions. It does make my life a lot easier because we're already up to 150 people in the live chat. Oh, and I got to talk about the Bitstamp versus Bitfinex price. Oh, God, this is going to be my longest video ever. I really hope not, though. All right, so here's Bitstamp, and Bitstamp is up to about 1240, which is, I mean, it's nice. We're so close to the weekly high. The weekly closing high was about 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, at the end of February, and it was at 1,273. Okay, the moment a weekly candle, the moment, if next Friday, it's not going to happen. If next Sunday, it's not going to happen today in the next 4 hours. But if next Sunday we close above 1273 on Bitstamp, it is the all-time high on the weekly chart. I mean, Bitcoin cannot be any more bullish. Okay. Oh, I don't have the Brave New Coin Liquid Index open. Let me open that up. All right, so while that's opening, oh, that's going to open quick. Nice. Excellent. Here's the Brave New Coin Liquid Index. It was published on TradingView back in like February or January even. I don't even remember when. Published on TradingView a long time ago, and this green arrow right here, you see those little dots? You see this green arrow? I have not touched this green arrow. You can go to the TradingView blockchain, which is more immutable than Ethereum is, and you can see this green arrow and how the price is moving right up this arrow, and this arrow was drawn back in January, okay? There's no magic here. This was just my interpretation that this 1175 resistance was going to be problematic, but I expected in April for price to start going up, and it should start to go up real quick. Litecoin is helping, actually, and Taiwan is helping too. Thank you for cutting off bank deposits. So that's going up, and as long as these momentum indicators make a new high, as long as the price makes a new high and these indicators make a new high, we're all set for like a $2,000 Bitcoin. I mean, there's nothing technically stopping it. We're literally almost at open air at new all-time highs, and I trust the Brave New Coin Liquid Index because unlike, I mean, I don't know. I haven't been with Brave New Coin in a long time. I did help build this index, and if I was still advising Brave New Coin, I would tell them not to remove Bitfinex from the index. I mean, they can do whatever they like, but I think it's a mistake to remove Bitfinex from a Bitcoin pricing index because it's a legit price. It's showing you how much people are willing to pay for a Bitcoin to get their Bitcoin out. This is how much you would pay on local Bitcoins. A Bitcoin index should incorporate local Bitcoin's prices, but it's very, very difficult to streamline the data. But if Bitfinex is giving us a window into the price of a Bitcoin on local Bitcoins, then yeah, that's what you should do. Because remember, you don't lose money if you take your Bitcoin, if you have cash on Bitfinex and you go and buy Bitcoin at a price of whatever it is on Bitfinex. What's the price? 1350, right? If you have cash sitting on Bitfinex and you buy Bitcoin at 1350, yeah, you're an idiot if you take that Bitcoin to Bitstamp and sell it at $100 lower. But you can take that Bitcoin to local Bitcoins and sell it for cash for $1350. This is a legitimate price of Bitcoin. Any index that is removing the Bitstamp price from their index have absolutely no clue what the hell they are doing. None. Okay? If I was in charge of an index, no way I would allow the Bitfinex price to leave unless Bitfinex shuts down trading or Bitfinex volume falls below the levels that are acceptable to be in the index. And these rules need to be, on hand ahead of time. Otherwise, the index stays. CoinDesk has no business running a Bitcoin index because they're not an indexing company. They're not a financial company. Okay? CoinDesk is not the leader in this space. Okay, so if Brave New Coin is smart, they are leaving it because that is the street price of Bitcoin, if not more. Okay, I wouldn't sell my Bitcoin on the street for $1350. I'd charge $1,400. If they don't want it from me, go give your ID and buy it from someone else. Okay, but like I was saying, it's very difficult to get your for your index to factor in local Bitcoin's coins, which is why, but this gives you a window into that, and it's a legit price right now. Okay, that's the relationship right here. This is your Bitstamp versus Bitfinex relationship, and it's almost at 10%, which is amazing. This is the third highest ever in the last 3 years. There were weird things going on before that, but this is this shouldn't count. I mean, about the spike. I mean, these don't really count. This is early days, and there's data errors, and it's I ignore that. Someone needs to scrub that data, which is not my job anymore. Back on Wall Street, it was, but not for the purposes of graphing stuff. But so that's it. The only two other times the relationship was bigger was when Bitfinex got hacked and when Bitfinex had a flash crash. And it would be unbelievable if the relationship goes above 12%. But again, it shows you, I can guarantee you that the price on Bitfinex will reach the street level. It'll be because people will bid up Bitcoin on Bitfinex. They will take that Bitcoin off Bitfinex and they will sell it on local Bitcoins for whatever they paid for it on Bitfinex, plus maybe 2%, maybe 1%, whatever, right? No one should take a loss on this trade. No one should be taking a loss. And most likely, the price on Bitstamp is going to catch up to Bitfinex, right? Because there's so many things are going on here, right? It's not that simple. It's not that simple. Because if you are overpaying for a Bitcoin on Bitfinex and paying $1,350, why would you then move it and sell it for a lower price? You will take it off the market. It's at you paid $1,350 for it. You're not going to sell unless it's for a profit. So you're holding on to this Bitcoin. So if anything, this has taken Bitcoin off the market and and creating longer term holders that are going to wait for a higher price before they sell. Like, this relationship is helping the price of Bitcoin rise. In addition, this also shows you how any exchange is at risk because the banking system is preventing the movement of fiat money internationally. So if your funds are at Bitstamp, or if your funds are at other, like Kraken, other international exchanges, they might have the same exact problem tomorrow. And if they have the same exact problem tomorrow, Bitcoin gets bid up across the board all the way to like 1500s for you to take that Bitcoin off, and bye exchanges, and everything goes to local Bitcoins. And no one is going to want to take a loss on their Bitcoin. They're going to sell Bitcoin at a high. Now, if this happens, your altcoins are totally screwed. Everyone's been like pitching their bullshit that, oh, you can now buy Ethereum for dollars. You can now buy Dash for dollars. Well, if you can't buy Bitcoin for dollars, altcoins get affected even more. Also, if people can't move their Bitcoins through these exchanges because their fiat money got cut off, yeah, there'll still be altcoin trading, but there ain't going to be new money coming in. Everything points into the direction of Bitcoin having like a major run-up, which I think it's going to have. Now, SegWit is still a bit of an issue, but let's look at Litecoin for a minute, okay? By the way, this is my hourly chart on Bitfinex, and it's going up. And again, technicals, they're not always right, but they don't lie. Like, I don't like make this shit up randomly. I drew this arrow like weeks ago, expecting a $350 rise in the price of Bitcoin because of everything that happened during the whole SegWit debacle. The RSI went from overbought to oversold, back to overbought, and now it's, I mean, we're just forming these flags left and right. I don't see any problems here. Like, there's nothing here telling me that anything bad is going to happen. Now, Dash, on the other hand, I drew this second handle. Yeah, it's taking its sweet time, but anyway, sooner or later, Dash is coming back to right here, and then this arrow will be realized sooner or later. Like, it's, I can always be wrong, but so far, I drew this thing like over a week ago, and it's acting as it should. So look at Litecoin. Here's the hourly chart of Litecoin, okay? Tweeted this out the other day. Here, tweeted this out April 22nd. I tweeted out yesterday, right? And I basically... by the way, I've been talking about Litecoin being undervalued for weeks and weeks, back when it was like $4. You can go back and listen to, I think it was even an Adam Meister show with Vinny Lingham, when I was like saying it's insane how Litecoin isn't going up at all, and like Dash is pumping and Ethereum's pumping and Monero's pumping, and Litecoin is significantly more useful than any of them, and relatively speaking. The target of $15 has been met. It's possible that we go higher, but the target has been met, so I don't know what else to say. So here's what I would do. The reason my chart's more advanced, again, guys, I don't spend my day charting Litecoin. Thank you, client who called earlier today and wanted to know about Litecoin. So we talked about Litecoin for an hour. Tone-based consulting service is up and running at 0.1 Bitcoins per hour. And when we talk about Litecoin, I have a chart for Litecoin, then after. So my view on Litecoin is we are in this bullish channel. I understand this is Poloniex price, which is also inflated, but it's hard to chart in multiple exchanges, multiple currencies between Bitcoin and Litecoin. So I just happen to have the dollar chart because it's just nice round numbers. And a Litecoin right now is in its horizontal channel. So if I owned Litecoin, which I don't, I would be bullish the moment it goes below this zone right here, and this zone is $17 to the 1720 high. Once it gets in the zone and is looking like it's going to get out of the zone, I would be looking, to go to the top of the channel and probably reach $20. And if we fall out of this, if we make a new low, if we fall below 16, I would be bearish Litecoin. This channel is it's not that strong. And a lot of this is also Bitcoin price dependent. But as long as you're in this channel, you're in a hold pattern. And once it falls out of this channel, it'll have a bigger pullback. There's also a Fibonacci's on here, and it started to pull back on the Fibonacci. It would have been beautiful if it fell all the way down to 15, where it would have met the Fibonacci. And also, you guys probably can't see. Let me put a circle right there. It would have been nice. Should make it green. Would have been nice to see it come right into the circle on this pullback. It would have been very clean. It would have bounced off of the 50-hour and the 38% Fibonacci, but it didn't fall that far. So, which means it means the trend is still strong, and now we're at the bottom of the channel. But we now have our zone. We have a support and resistance. So if we fall below 16, it's dangerous. And if we go above 17, then there might be one more pump, one more push. And in my tweet, I tweeted out that you have to be a complete moron not to realize that SegWit on Litecoin is increasing the price. How much more proof do you need that activating SegWit is going to double the price of Bitcoin? Immediately. This is completely insane. The miners think that they will make more money with their ASIC boost advantage than they will from an exponential rise in Bitcoin. And that's just stupid. I don't know if it's pride at this point. I don't know if Jihan Wu is going to get fired as the CEO if he activates SegWit, but you will make more money because the price of Bitcoin will go up. Unless at this point, all of these Bitcoin Unlimited supporters are, sold all of their Bitcoin for shitcoins, and now they're trying to prevent Bitcoin from scaling, thinking that they will get rich in altcoins, but they won't. Because sooner or later, SegWit will get into the Bitcoin code, and all of that money is going to move out of the shitcoins and into Bitcoin, okay? It's gonna happen to Litecoin too, and maybe Litecoin will have another use case as a test net sometime in the future, for SegWit 2.0 or whatever, or Lightning. We'll test it out there first, okay? But it's so obvious that the price of Bitcoin would skyrocket the moment SegWit starts to become a reality. It doesn't even need to be activated; it just needs to become a reality. All right, so I also have more Litecoin charts, again, because someone, commissioned a Litecoin chart, which is great. So here is the oldest chart I can put together, which is the price of Litecoin in terms of Bitcoin. The price of Litecoin in terms of Bitcoin on BTCE, which is the oldest exchange. And this was one hell of a pump. It broke out of this downward trend line, which wasn't all that strong. And look, it stopped on a dime right at the 200-week moving average. And I think it might take a pause right here. But your next level of resistance is 0.018. So it's pretty much open air between 0.03 and 0.018. So probabilities say that if a Litecoin goes above 0.013 Bitcoin on a weekly close, then the probability is high that it's going to go to this yellow line, at which point it would create a double top, at which point it has a chance of breaking higher, but that's your next resistance point, okay? And then this is a very big flat top. Now, I don't think it's going to get up there ever again, but I could obviously be wrong. On the downside, this is obvious. The moment Litecoin falls below this low, it's going to get very, very ugly. But this is a range you can drive a truck through, okay? It's like $10 for Litecoin, okay? So I have another chart. No, I don't care about that one. I don't really care about this one either, actually. So what are we looking at here? Okay. So this is the price of Litecoin on BTC in terms of dollars. And here, this is actually interesting, right? Because right here, it did not. We still haven't broken the high of summer 2015. But here, in terms of dollars, we have broken the high of 2015. So this is where the Bitcoin price is more important than the dollar price when it comes to Litecoin. The volume is looking good. So it was just interesting that you can see that Litecoin broke in dollar terms, but not in Bitcoin terms, okay? And this is, again, in Bitcoin terms, and we haven't broken it yet. But what you can do here is, this is a daily chart, and you've broken out to the upside there, and you can also look at this as a bullish flag pattern. And if you look at it as a bullish flag pattern, the next leg up should be the size of the first leg, even though it was a reversal. Like, there's nothing clean here, but again, you're looking for it right there as the prior high in terms of Bitcoin on the daily close. So on a daily close, this is 0.025, while on the weekly close, this is 0.018. So there is a huge variance here between daily and weekly closes. But you know what? Maybe I'll talk about it more if we get there. But I don't know if I'm going to go into Litecoin in such detail unless there's another consulting session literally just before my podcast, which is what happened. I think I've rambled on long enough. It's been like an hour. Let's go take a look at the markets again, and then I'm going to go to your Q&A. I honestly don't think this is going to hold. I don't think. I think the markets are overreacting to the positive side, because I don't think a 1% disparity, 1 to 2% disparity between Le Pen and what's that other guy's name? Macman? I knew it earlier. It's been a long day, guys, and I haven't been paying attention to the election. I think the news is overblown. I don't think this means that Le Pen is not going to win. There's still a month to go, and crazier things happened like so far in the last 12 months, like Brexit and Trump, right? So Le Pen winning is, and either way, even if she doesn't win, I think like she's gonna have lots of members in the coalition. So this is gonna get very, very interesting with the French elections. Well, nothing to see here because it's not the future. So let's see how this works. Obviously, the weekly charts are pointing to a short in gold, and I'll probably be taking on short trades in gold once once people come down over the French elections. Bitcoin price is back at still at 1240 and 1350 on here. Yep, 1350 flat. Check the price on local Bitcoins, right? I mean, that's how far Bitfinex will go. This also affects Tether. Oh man, I don't know if I want to get into the details of what happened. I have 175 viewers. let me go to Q&A. Maybe there'll be a Q&A question involving Tether, and then I'll do that. All right, Rich. Holy shit, that's a lot of questions, dude. All right, let's see where we can how fast we can go through these. How high will Litecoin go? I think I already answered that, and honestly, I have absolutely no idea. But I can tell you prior points of interest, which I already have. Next question. Do you think the fact that there are seemingly buyers of Bitcoin at all these increasing prices suggests that the real market value is considerably higher? Yes, I have no reason to elaborate. Jameson Lopp wrote a piece on security regarding holding Bitcoin in which he suggests better than bank level security measures. Is it necessary to make copies of a Trezor wallet, or is the Trezor plus 12 recovery words enough? I don't know what that means, make copies of a Trezor wallet. I think a Trezor plus 12 recovery words should be enough. But here's the thing, right? This is so... Bitcoin security is so freaking difficult. It just is. It's difficult. How are you saving your 12 recovery words? If you are writing them down, that is a risk. It's a risk that someone will see it, right? You need to memorize those 12 recovery words so that you are the only one that knows them. But now you have a problem. If you get hit by a bus, how does that Bitcoin not get lost, right? So that's another problem. So you would write those 12 recovery words on a USB stick in an Excel file where you can password protect the Excel file, and then you can encrypt the USB stick itself. And then you hide a bunch of these USB sticks. And then you have to, like, I guess, tell your loved ones what the password to the USB stick is, but not give them access to the USB stick until something happens to you. I mean, there's going to be like some kind of other solutions for this, but right now there aren't any. So I am always paranoid on the 12 magic words and how to save them and protect them. This is one of the reasons why I have always been a fan of the Airbits wallet. And I know it's not a hardware wallet, and I know it's an SPV wallet, and I know Paul Pui, the CEO, got into a lot of hot water with his views on the hard fork that I actually disagree with as well. And it's unfortunate because, again, another friend of mine who I'm arguing with over blocks and how to, handle it. But anyway, the reason why I really like Airbits wallet is that it allows you to create a really difficult password, but you create it yourself, and no one knows this password but you, and you can memorize it, and you can have the Bitcoin with the backup being only in your head, not having to worry that you screwed up 12 random words that a random generator created. I prefer, like, my email is the same way. My Proton Mail account, I am the only one that knows the password. I never wrote it down anywhere. So if something happens to me, my email is lost forever unless someone wants to, force break my password. This is one of the reasons why I like Airbits wallet over all other SPV wallets, because it gives me the chance, it gives me an option of having a password that I create and I memorize and no one else knows. The 12 words is great, but I'm always paranoid that I have to, like, hide them. But with, like, Airbits and my email, I don't have to hide my password. I know my password. Okay, and it's pretty damn complicated, but it's something that I know because it's something that I created. There's a difference there. All right, so hopefully I answered the question. Considering unexplained wealth in a crime. Okay, considering Considering unexplained wealth in a crime, how do you intend to spend your future Bitcoin millions without getting into trouble? That is an excellent question, and here's my answer. I have no freaking idea. But it's a good problem to have, and it's a problem I will deal with if I get to it. Okay, this is what you call a good problem. It's like you buy a house and you're remodeling the basement, and you find a stash of gold coins from the early 1900s because some owner 70 years ago was scared that Roosevelt was going to steal his gold, and he, hid them in the basement and then died, and then the house got passed on and then sold and resold and resold, and you just found, $100, even $10 million worth of gold coins in your basement. And what do? You can, turn it into the authorities, and they'll just take it from you because it's technically not yours. It's the previous owners, and they will go and look for next of kin. You can report that you found this money, and actually, if you report that you found a suitcase full of cash or a suitcase full of gold, it actually, I believe the law is, it has to be held by the authorities for X amount of time until in case someone comes in to claim it, and they would have to show evidence that it was theirs, and then they might have to prove where they got it or how they lost it. And then if nobody claims it, then you get to keep it, but then you have to pay taxes on it because you just got rich for nothing, and the government doesn't like that, right? So yeah, this is what you call a good problem, and you deal with it when the time comes. You can always, some options are you claim it on your taxes, you give the government 20%, and you sell the rest on Coinbase, or equivalent at the time. You can, become a citizen of a country that has no taxes, and then you can do whatever you want with it. You can, get rid of your U.S. citizenship if you're a U.S. person. You can always become a Puerto Rican resident and then sell your Bitcoin tax-free. So there are options. There are options. Or you can take your chances on the street and avoid authorities. I mean, it's all up to the person. I'm not. You make your own decisions, but it'll be a good problem. It's a problem I would love to have. Let's put it that way. But the problem that I don't want. Here's the problem that I don't want. Right? I have the same problem in my trading account. Right? So here's the problem. I'm a trader. Let's use round numbers, right? Let's say I have $100,000 in a trading account, right? And I have a really good year where I double my money. So now I have $200,000 in my trading account. But at the end of the year, the government demands taxes. The government says, well, you just made $100,000. If you live in New York, you owe us, based on $100,000 salary, you owe us, income taxes, because it's not capital gains, right? Because it's short-term gains, right? You're a short-term trader. You made $100,000 in 1 year, right? You got lucky, you doubled your money. And the government's demanding, let's say, 33%. Let's be generous here. If you're in New York, it'll be closer to 40%, right? City taxes, state taxes. So you made $100,000. You owe the government $40,000. But you have $50,000 in the bank that you've been living on. And you say, oh man, I'm on a really hot streak. I don't want to withdraw $40,000 from my trading account. I'm going to pay it. I'm going to pay it out of my bank account. So you pay the taxes of $40,000, and then you have $10,000 left to your name, but $200,000 in your trading account. So that you can trade. You just made 100% in 1 year. If I can do it again, I'll be rich, and then it'll solve all my problems. And then in the month of January, there's a black swan event, and your $200,000 becomes $2,000, and your bank account has $10,000 in it. This is a problem because you pay the taxes. but you didn't take the money out of that trading account, and then it all went to zero. So this is the problem you want to avoid. So this is why you don't actually want to pay taxes on your Bitcoin unless you are selling your Bitcoin, so that the Bitcoin network doesn't like go to zero because, you know, someone rich decided to hard fork, and then you paid all these taxes for your yearly gains, but then your principal goes to zero. Altcoins have the same issue, right? I mean, you were trading left and right, you owe taxes, you've like tripled your wealth in altcoins, you pay those taxes out of your life savings, but then an altcoin exchange runs away with all your money, and now you're screwed. You'll be deducting, you're only allowed to deduct $3,000 a year then after on taxes. So you'll be, if my $200,000 trading scenario comes true, you are now going to be deducting only $3,000 a year, but you just lost $200,000. So you'll be dead way before you take advantage of those losses. Anyway, I think that was a overwinded answer. Can you publish an approximate schedule for crypto scam topics? Well, Ethereum and Ethereum is next. It'll be Ethereum, and my next 3 hot topics are Ethereum, or my next 4 hot topics are Ethereum, cloud mining, Ethereum Classic, and Monero. But the order isn't. The order hasn't been determined yet. All right, next. Gregory Maxwell has come out against the user-activated soft fork. Yeah, that makes sense. I doubt that users will force SegWit without the support of the core devs. I agree. I also doubt Bitcoin Unlimited will hard fork. I also agree. Therefore, status quo prevails. It prevails for now, but eventually, when hashing rate goes up, but mining profits aren't going up, they will go to SegWit so that the price of Bitcoin would go up. And if Gregory Maxwell gets pissed off enough of these miners, he will support a user-activated soft fork. Also, user-activated soft fork will slowly gain momentum, and core developers would be bombarded with, we need to change proof of work. Or basically, here's another option. If Bitmain claims that they're not using ASIC boost, then fine. Then let's put in a BIP that eliminates covert ASIC boost, and then we'll argue over SegWit again. After that, we'll see what happens. You know, the argument isn't SegWit. The argument is ASIC boost. Like Gregory Maxwell is just afraid that if a user-activated soft fork, pushes a little too much, it can cause a hard fork. Like we want the miners to do what's best for the community, and we will hold out as long as we can to get the miners to see the light. All right, next question. About the potential value of Bitcoin, do you think only the Satoshi will be used to make everyday purchases in the future? Oh man, I probably not. I don't. It's still. Ask me again another time as to why I don't. Look, I think Bitcoin is great, but Bitcoin isn't perfect. And there's in the future, I think there'll be some major code changes. Just consider how eventually the gold-backed US dollar became the Federal Reserve's US dollar. 20, 30, 40 years from now, if Bitcoin still survives, there will be changes to Bitcoin on a scale that are that critical to the network. Because if everyone starts using Bitcoin, there'll be some. The prisoner's dilemmas that are going to come up are going to be way greater than SegWit versus Bitcoin Unlimited, we'll see. Honestly, I think if Bitcoin is really, really doing its job, governments will start issuing currency that is a better asset, and governments will eventually give up on policing voluntary transactions. And then everything we can do with Bitcoin, we would be able to do with government currency. There are ways for governments to kill Bitcoin. All they have to do is remove money laundering laws, and be more responsible with government spending. And it could be a good system in the future. I mean, that's the point, right? I mean, yes, the point is for all of us to be rich, but the real point is to help society as a whole. And the question you have to ask yourself, if the government came out with a more responsible spending policy and not arrest people for voluntary transactions and not hold cash criminally accountable for anything, how useful would Bitcoin be? It becomes, Hayek versus Keynes debate. Which one is better? And I mean, Keynes won. I'm not saying I agree. I don't. I would rather have Hayek win, but it is what it is. And the world hasn't done too badly in an inflationary currency. Technology is doing amazingly well. I mean, look at us, 182 live viewers over Facebook for free. Issues are debatable, right? I don't like thinking that far ahead, right? Let's just get SegWit. Can we just let's focus on SegWit, guys? I don't want to talk about Satoshi being the smallest unit. It's nice to dream, but let's be realistic here. How could the debt ceiling affect the Bitcoin market? I don't know, not much. There'll be some panic in the financial markets, probably not much. I mean, they'll raise the debt ceiling. They always do. Why the blank is BU gaining hash? It's not gaining hash. No one's mining with BU code. They're just signaling for BU because they don't want SegWit taking away their ASIC boost advantage. Look, Occam's razor, guys. Simple explanations. Simple explanations. What made you stop being a gold bug? Reality. The realization, well, Bitcoin helped a lot. I mean, after I got into Bitcoin, I got a much better understanding of what money is. And it's not gold. It's really not. And technicals, like when you stop believing in conspiracies and start, oops, didn't mean to close that. Wait, there you go. Control-Shift-T opens the previous tab that you accidentally closed, in case people didn't know. Control-Shift and the letter T will automatically restore closed tabs that you closed by accident. I started trusting my charts. I started trusting my math. Like it's, I was always a chartist, but like I didn't believe it. Like I was buying into the bullshit that everything is gonna collapse and then gold's gonna go up. And look, having so much gold that you want the economy to crash so that you become rich on your gold is the equivalent of you telling your friends and family, I want you all to lose a job and I want you all to go broke so I can be rich. That's what it's like when you don't hold the stocks and all you have is gold. It's like buying 10 flood contracts, flood insurance contracts on your house, and then you're pissed why the great flood isn't coming to destroy your house so that you can collect on your 10 flood insurances. You buy gold as insurance, You don't buy gold as your core position, and then you get pissed why the markets aren't crashing. And then you double down, and it's just happier now that I'm not a gold bug anymore. It's great. Should try it. Are we living in a simulated virtual reality? I don't think so. Oh God, Rich just sent me like 100 more questions. Holy shit, guys. All right, let me see if I can get through these faster. Have you seen block speed info? I've never heard of block speed.info. Many times you talk about the size of the blocks not being full. They show the current status of the blocks. And you're right, blocks are not full. Thank you. No, I've never heard of that website. Is Bitcoin margin rate going up at Polo because people are loaning it out, or they are moving Bitcoin off of Polo? No, the reason why Polo price of Bitcoin is high is because Polo doesn't hold any dollars. Polo doesn't have a bank account, as far as I know, that lets you trade it for dollars. Polo trades Bitcoin against Tether tokens, and Tether tokens are currently traded on Kraken at about 92 cents to the dollar, which is something I have been telling people for a long time, that Tether is not worth 100 cents on the dollar. I've always been saying that Tether is worth like 95 or 96 cents on the dollar because there is a risk in Tether. There is $50 million worth of risk in Tether because it's US dollars sitting in some Taiwanese bank account. So that's the reason why Polo's price is reflecting the value of Tether, which is no longer 1-to-1. So you're seeing an 8% increase in the price of a Bitcoin because Tether has fallen 8%. How can one tell if a Bitcoin they own is on the BU chain or core chain? There are no Bitcoins on the BU chain. They don't exist. There is no BU chain. It's no one is running their code. All your Bitcoin is on the core chain at the moment. And when they fork, which I don't think they will, it'll be different. How sure are you that Ethereum is going down? 110%. I mean, Ethereum is nonsense. Ethereum is nonsense. It's not going to last. I don't even know what to compare it to. Ethereum's perpetual motion, as my former friends at my former joint couple at Bitcoin Uncensored would say. Oh yeah, no, I apologize. They're not my friends. They're the worst two people in the world. I shouldn't be lying. What's up with $150 Byteball? I have no idea what Byteball is. What's up with USDT? Well, USDT has the same problem as Bitfinex because they use the same banks. Here's the problem. The problem is that when your money sits in Hong Kong and you have to move this money through the US banking system, the Taiwanese bank has to send a wire. This wire has to move through the US banks. And one of the banks heavily involved in this transaction is Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo said, whoa, these Bitcoin people are doing way too much business. We don't like this. So the US banks started giving the Taiwanese banks a hard time about wiring money. And the money wasn't getting to where it was supposed to go. So the Taiwanese banks, or the companies that hold money in those banks, like Tether, the company Tether, and Bitfinex, they said, we don't want to be sending this money around because Wells Fargo or other banks might like confiscate this money in transit, and now we got a bigger problem. So they've stopped moving the money out of these Taiwanese banks. So it's, I personally don't believe Tether nor Bitfinex are insolvent. I don't know for sure. I mean, I don't have access to their bank accounts, but I do not, I think they're perfectly solvent. My opinion, unsubstantiated opinion. But they can't move the money anywhere. I mean, they can probably like get it back if they're going to close the businesses down. Though I'm sure they'll get the money back. They can also fly into Taiwan and make arrangements with a private airplane, put 50 million on an airplane, and get it back to the U.S. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it, but so that's the problem. The money is sitting in Taiwan that's not going anywhere. So people are panicking, and they're selling Tether at 92 cents on the dollar just so they'll take 92 cents now instead of $1 in the future, because they're afraid they may never get the dollar. That's basically what's happening right now. And exchanges that don't have these problems in wiring money around the world, they seem to be doing fine, but you don't know if that's going to change any minute. Ripple's bubble has popped. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. Hasn't popped. When Ripple is trading outside the top 10, we can then consider talking about bubble popping. Ripple is not even a blockchain, in my opinion. I don't even know why it's on this list. Someone should remove Tether from, like, CoinMarketCap is doing the world a disservice by keeping Ripple there. Ripple is no different than OneCoin. It's just made up on a private blockchain, which isn't even a blockchain. What do I think of Roger Vere's statement? I don't know. What's a statement? Bitcoin Unlimited is production ready. Oh, God, no. It's already producing 40% of the blocks. No, that's inaccurate, and that's a lie. I mean, no one is mining with Bitcoin Unlimited. Maybe Roger's pool and ViaBTC's pool, which is debatable if that's Roger's pool also. They're mining with Core. They're signaling for SegWit because they want to keep their ASIC boost. What are your long-term expectations for Ripple? 0. I have a whole video about Ripple, guys. Please go to Crypto Scam, episode 6, Ripple with Peter Todd. How does the price of Bitcoin rise if people just hoard their coins? I know some people sell, but most just hold. I'll tell you why. If you go to my blog and you type in use cases, you will find an article that is over 1 year old that I wrote. I really wish I had time to write more articles, because I can point you to articles from like 2014 that are as relevant today as they were back then. Nothing's changed. The top use cases of Bitcoin, and it explains all of these use cases that give Bitcoin its value. Okay, I think Trace Mayer was very wrong on his math. I just haven't had time to explain it to him, nor fix it for the purposes of the article. But please check this out. You can just Google top use cases of Bitcoin, and Google will take you here. Okay, so go give that a read. If we increase the block size, we will increase it again and again and again. Yeah, it's like the debt ceiling. Can we compare this to the USA? Yeah, that's exactly it. I've been saying that for a long time. So it's the increasing the block size is the debt ceiling. Only imagine the debt ceiling, but only every time they increase the debt ceiling, there's 2 different US dollars. I mean, that's because some people don't want to increase the debt ceiling, and some people want to increase the debt ceiling. So it's a hard fork on the debt ceiling with US dollars, and now there's 2 USD. That's pretty much what Bitcoin Unlimited is proposing. It's the US debt ceiling with a chance of a USD hard fork. Is your node running yet? Yeah, it's running, but I haven't had time to make a video. My node is running, but I'm not even sure if I gotta reconfigure my router. But yeah, I gotta get to that. Sorry, guys, just not enough time in the day, and I do too many podcasts, and everyone is starving for Crypto Scam. I'll try and get to it, and I'm in the middle of earnings season, which is like my busiest. Next week is my busiest week of the year. Well, there's 4 of them, but it's like smack in the middle of earnings season. Last week was, this week is, and then the week of the 3rd is. If scenario of Bitcoin price going to $100,000 is possible, do you think rich and powerful will use their influence, media, regulatory, they already are, to lower the price to 100. Well, they already are, right? I mean, look at Roger. Roger is using the media because he is the media. And is it one speculation that I've been throwing out there? Maybe Roger doesn't have nearly as much Bitcoin as people think he does, and he's using this opportunity to accumulate as much Bitcoin as he can while it's still low. I don't know, but of course, yeah. I mean, once there are billionaires and the first trillionaires in Bitcoin, of course they will go into politics. They will make laws, and they will make those laws to their benefit so that they can stay rich. Let's just hope they don't make laws, to alter Bitcoin code so that they can turn it into proof of stake and then just, make more Bitcoin. That's what you want to avoid. If you're 110% sure Ethereum is going to zero, are you shorting it? No, absolutely not, because I have no idea how high it's going to go. I mean, like I would have thought people saw the scam in all of these ICOs, but they don't. They're just starving for more. Ethereum is going to zero either economically or technologically. I don't know which one's going to happen first. Can Ethereum go to $100 before that? Of course it can. I'm not going to short it. It's like, it's like, the .com crash is going to happen, but when do you short? I mean, if you shorted the tech sector in 1999, the Nasdaq still went up another 25 or 30% in the year 1999. Why does Coinbase sell Ethereum but nothing else, other than Bitcoin, of course? Seems kind of weird, like they have some hidden Ethereum agenda to get Ethereum as mainstream as Bitcoin. Maybe Brian Armstrong is just, believes in Ethereum. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Brian Armstrong believes in Ethereum and he likes it and stuff like that. Right, sorry about that. Had to take a little pause. Yeah, I mean, I think they're trying to integrate Litecoin. Look, probably because they can make money, right? I mean, Ethereum is popular. Ethereum has a huge trading volume, and they make money from selling Ethereum. And I don't know. I mean, why does Brock Pierce like Ethereum so much, right? I mean, it's the same question, right? Why do a lot of people that also got in early, they like Ethereum. They want to make more money. It's also work, right? I mean, the more coins you add, the more coins you have to be responsible for as a company. And Coinbase isn't exactly Poloniex or Cryptsy. They can't just run away with all your money and disappear. Much more difficult for Coinbase because they have investors and they're trying to comply with laws. All right, guys, I think I'm done with questions. This is I can't believe I got this done in 1.5 hours. Still have 185 live viewers, which is great. Check out my On the Record from earlier today, where I talked to a PIVX core developer. Let's take one more look at how the French elections are affecting the market. You already see gold only down 16 instead of 20. The S&P, however, is still up 20 points with the Dow 176. The euro is still up above 1.09. Again, watch this entire episode for my views on the French election. And that's it. Check out my top use cases for Bitcoin article from April of last year. And that could have been written even a year earlier. Still perfectly applies. Okay. All right, guys, on this note, hope everyone enjoyed the episode. I will jump into the live chat for a minute. I have not seen the live chat. I'm sure it's like way ahead of me. But yeah, see you there for a few minutes in case you have any other quick questions. And thank you very much for tuning in. And once again, Tone Base Consulting, 0.1 Bitcoins per hour, as long as some hours are open and available. So, and people have been hitting me up, which is great. Hopefully I'm helping. Bye-bye, guys.